We talked last week about how if we're not careful and we begin to believe the lies of the devil about who we are, and we begin to agree with that, and we're not breaking those judgments, we're not breaking that captivity, we're being disqualified, that leaves us empty, leaves us hopeless, it leaves us without being raised up to the fullness that Christ has for us, our destiny, so to speak. And when we do that, we begin to build addictions. And it can be anything from illicit addictions to even things that look good, but they're still idols. If we put anything ahead of Jesus, it's an idol. And when we're empty inside, hurting, wounded, listening to these lies, we're more susceptible. And like I said last week, we could pray, we could fast, but until we get the healing inside of us, there's still that power of sin over us. That's why Jesus says this, he preached this sermon, but it was from Isaiah 61, and it's a prophecy about Jesus, of who he would be and what he would do. And it says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives." If you want to be liberated from the captivity, from the judgment, from the disqualifications that Satan tries to rail against you through his accusations, if you want to have that liberty, there's a work that is a prerequisite to that. It's just before that. It said, he sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. Until he binds up the brokenhearted, we're still not going to be captive. We're going to still be and opening the prisons, the next verse says, the prison of those who are bound. If we're still bound to these lies of the enemy, if we're still in agreement to the lies of the enemy, we're not going to be walking in liberty. You're not going to be walking in the power of who you really are, the power of unleashing the goodness and the beauty that God has inside of you, breaking all the bondages, breaking all the chains so that you could rise up and be that true ambassador for who Jesus calls you to be.